Today's episode of Fantasy Fiction is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/fantasyfiction. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, MP3 player, or Magic Stone. Today we're recommending Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks. It's a book about elves, I think. So if you're enjoying the show, give the free trial a chance. It'll help us pay for the hosting, but I'm not sure what that is. I'm just a wizard. Enjoy the episode. Next scroll. Reese's, where are you? Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Fantasy Fiction. My name is Dominic.
My name is Josh.
And my last name is Mesquite.
Mine is Mesquite. Henderson. Shit.
Dude, we practiced this.
I blew it.
You fucking blew it. Now people don't even want to hear our tales about dungeon traps and cannibals.
I don't blame them. I
don't blame them either.
I wouldn't stick
I didn't
around.
want to hear them. Well, I want to hear yours. I don't want to hear mine. Josh,
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I want to know what you were up to this week.
This week I watched a fuck ton of Mystery Science Theater 3000. I went on a binge.
Dude, I did the same thing. What'd you watch?
I watched all the ones on Netflix because they put a bunch up. So Soul Taker is probably my favorite. I've seen that one before. I can watch that one like any old time.
That's what's great about that show is that you could probably watch it 3 or 4 times and still find new jokes or new references every time. And Soul Taker is probably one of my favorite episodes too.
I started watching Mitchell last night, but I fell asleep. And I know that one's regarded as one of the best ones.
Dude, I did the same thing. I was watching Mitchell last night too.
Jodan Baker.
Jodan Baker.
They lay into him in that movie.
They do.
They're just like, fuck Jodan Baker. Like, they don't care. What did you do this week?
I listened to Black Sabbath. That's what I did.
Fuck yes.
Dude, to be honest, I'm a big metalhead, but I never really got into Sabbath just because, they're known as the band, so I was like, I'll get around to it.
Right.
Because I know it's good, I just never got around to it. But this weekend I was drawing and I put on Black Sabbath's self-titled, and I'm sold. It is one of the best bands of all time.
Dude, I love Masters of Reality. Is one of my favorite. We used to have the record of that, and me and my cousin would play it on his shitty record player, and when we were 7, and we would jump around on his bunk bed listening to it, and we broke the bunk beds.
Dude, Satan broke your bunk beds, dude?
Yeah, we blamed it on Satan. We were like, I think Satan did it. And his mom was like,
probably that. Oh, it's that damn old Satan.
His mom was like, well, no more Satan for you.
It's funny because I actually like Dio Sabbath, which I actually have listened to.
Yeah, Dio Sabbath's good.
But Dio Sabbath is good. It's just not Sabbath.
Yeah.
That people know. People make the same analogy with the Misfits, but I can't even listen to Graves' Misfits.
Yeah, that's what I can't either. It's who's the angry guy from the Misfits? Johnny the Misfits.
Johnny Misfit.
Johnny Misfit from the Misfits.
Jerry Only. I don't know if he's an angry guy. He just knew how to market the logo.
Yeah. Do you remember when we worked at Gamervision? There was somebody going around town spray painting Misfit logos.
Oh yeah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Misfit logos. It was what's his name? The singer. Fuck it. Oh god.
Danzig.
It was spray painting Danzig logos everywhere.
Yeah, it was just Danzig's face.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's somebody we know. That person. We know who did that.
I guess it was supposed to be a cool thing, but Danzig's not that cool.
Well, we know who did that. I'm not going to say who, but...
Oh, really? You'll have to tell me because I don't realize who did it.
Yeah, we found out who it was because me and Zane, our friend Zane, were like, who the fuck is spray painting Danzig everywhere?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like Danzig's solo stuff. I think he has awesome solo albums. Danzig as a person doesn't seem that cool.
The coolest thing he's ever done is carried that kitty litter in the park. That picture of him
Hey, he lives in Los Feliz. I have yet to see him.
Yeah.
My roommate has seen him buy kitty litter. He has cats.
He must have a shit ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my story this week, in the conclusion of the Buff Cat saga, I guess if you want to call it that.
It was a bit of a saga.
It's like a mini series. I guess that counts as a saga. I guess.
I wouldn't say made for TV though, because that dude's tail got cut off on camera.
HBO or Showtime, absolutely, but not
HBO miniseries. Yes, that's what this is.
but not network. All right, my story is called Sea Walkin' 3: The Revengering Apocalypse Aftermath: I can't remember the prompts. I had to go back and listen to the podcast
to find out what the prompt for this week was. Yeah. Dude, what's funny is that I saw on our YouTube that was viewed, our old episode, and I was like, I wonder what Josh was doing with that.
I was like, what the fucking prompt? I don't remember. I remembered the one. I remembered Cannibals. I remember that one. Previously on Fantasy Fiction. Let me get this straight, Doc. You made a time machine out of a bone car? John! Buff Cat, I have a feeling we're not in Daranos anymore. Oh no, we still are. John! Wizard weed is people! John! No death metal hangers ever! John! Cinderella story, out of nowhere. A former dark cleric, now about to become master of Daranos. It looks like a miracle. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
John. Some sort of sports match. This show has it all.
Oh shit! All right. Okay then, there, Mr. Kitty Cat. I did all I could for you. Okay, I foresee you're gonna have to stay off of that tail for a while. Heh. Okay, that's a little cleric humor. Mew, Buff Cat replied. I managed to replace your tail there with this Morning Star mace here, okay? Now, I can't do much about those paws, there. The cleric tapped his staff against the now solidified chunks of death metal on Buff Cat's cutie paws. They made a clanging sound, and Buff Cat's mace tail began to swish back and forth in annoyance.
Oh my god, wait, Buff Cat's got a mace tail and death metal claws?
Yeah, man. He's fucking
shit.
Unstoppable. Hiss, said Buff Cat as he looked down at his useless yet still insanely fucking strong paws. Please, Mr. Kitty Cat, call me Argos. Argos Yelasowitz, MD. And there's no need to thank me. Oh my god, will you shut your stupid mouth? All this talking is making me get stabby, Sid interjected, clearly very annoyed and stabby. Then he stabbed Little Pointy into the wall, and it immediately carved Eddie from the Iron Maiden into the woods. We have to go kill that son of a cunt sore bone splitter. He hurt my friend, and nobody hurts my friends except me when I think it's going to get a laugh or when they owe me 5 rubies, Jerry, Sid went on. Mew! Okay, well, you boys be careful out there now, and remember, if you ever need any more healing, to just stop by, and I'll heal you right up for a small fee of, okay, you aren't listening, and now you left already, okay. Soon Sid and Buff Cat made their way to the clearing, where the sexy-as-hell entrance to Bone Splitter's crypt lay just waiting to be finger-banged again.
What? How was it sexy? Like, was it like... Did it have an era about it?
It just, you ever, just look at something and are like, that kind of looks sexy.
You ever look at something and just go, I could fuck it.
I'll fuck it. Like a watermelon or something. I don't know.
I'll find, sex will find a way.
Life finds a way, dude. As they approached, they remained silent and stealthy. Just as the entrance to the finger-hungry crypt was in sight, there they were. Oh, shit. Mew, mew, both Sid and Buff Cat said simultaneously as they saw what lay in front of them. All around were Zartal zombies equipped with newly forged death metal weapons.
Oh, my God.
Just milling around, being gross as fuck. Son of a dickless tit, Sid exclaimed.
Dickless tit. The son of one.
He's a fucking poet, man.
Does he have like an Uncle Sack?
Just low hanging and old. Old as hell nutsack. We're gonna need to sneak past all these dweebs. Mew! You're right. We're going to need to blend in. Sid and Buffcat made their way over to an old abandoned grave and started putting on all kinds of fucking bones and shit all over themselves. Buffcat put a bone in his hair and disguised himself as a gross girl zombie, while Sid put on a dead guy's dead skin and almost puked. He smelled like a toenail's queef.
Oh my god.
That's gross. Soon they started zombie walking, or Z-walking, like a slow set of stupid idiot zombies. Sid moaned, doing his best zombie impression. Mew! Buffcat followed.
Oh, I love Buffcat.
Soon they walked past a pair of zombies examining their new weapons. So, do we, stab things with these? Zombie number 1 said as he awkwardly flourished his death metal sword. I don't know, man. We're zombies. Why would Bone Shitter give us weapons to use? This plan seems flawed and contrived, said the second zombie. Faux show, replied the first zombie, but then he took his death metal blade and plunged it into the second zombie. The zombie wailed in pain and his skin began to boil from the inside. The death metal blade was super effective. You stabbed me, the second zombie gurgled, and then lit on fire, collapsing dead as shit.
Oh my god, death metal is amazing.
Dude, it's cool as fuck. The first zombie then began to eat him because, duh, zombies. The entire horde of zombies stopped and turned to see what was going the fuck on. Then all heck broke loose. Zombies were stabbing each other all the fuck over the place. Zombies were eating zombies and ripping their arms off and shit. One zombie was even trying to eat his own ears off. Yeah, it was that crazy. Buffcat and Sid just stood there in shock, not knowing what to do. They looked at each other, puzzled. Grrr, Sid said, trying to be more like a zombie. Meow. Buffcat began Z-walking even harder. As soon as they reached the entrance to the finger-hungry crypt, all kinds of fucking arrows started shooting out of the walls. Run, Buffcat, Sid said. Both he and Buffcat dove through the spooky foyer and landed with a thud on the hard, cold stone floor. As they stood up, Buffcat awkwardly used his metal-encrusted claws and put his weight on them. As he did, the floor stone underneath his paws pushed down. On the other side of the room, a small doorway opened, releasing 8 million snakes.
Oh my god.
They poured into the room like a tidal wave. Sid and Buffcat stood firm, like brothers.
Oh man, cue awesome music.
Just then, the snakes started shooting magic missiles from their eyes. Oh, fuck, Sid said. Buffcat leapt in front of Sid and put his metal hands up, blocking all missiles and reflecting them back at the snakes, and the snakes blew up, and there was blood and heads everywhere.
Oh my god, wizard snakes! I imagine they have little robes and beards, and some have pointy hats.
That's weird, because when I first wrote it, I had a line in there about them wearing gold chains. I was just and they wear gold chains.
You know what?
Reason.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that is canon. Snakes wear gold chains.
Oh, man. Finally, the two adventurers entered the laboratory of Bone Splitter. As they walked in, they could hear a strange song playing. Goodbye, horses. They're flying over you, sang Blood Splitter as he stood there dancing naked with his wiener tucked back.
What the fuck is going on with this guy?
I fucking knew it, Sid yelled. He just knew that he did this.
He just had a hunch the whole time.
He just knew.
I bet that guy
Probably tucks it back. Oh, hello, boys. I see you got past my zombie army. I just found them wandering around in the woods. Mew! No, Mr. Buffcat. I intend for you to die. Bone Splitter grabbed 2 death metal maces and started swinging them around like a crazy man. Buff Cat went to grab his enchanted catnip sword, but alas, his paws were useless. Sid stood off to the side. This one is all yours, BC. You have to reclaim your honor. Become the kitty cat you were born to become, he said.
Oh my god.
Just then, Buff Cat began to flex. Hard. His muscles ripped. His muscles rippled, and the ground began to quake. He flexed so hard that some angels started singing, and they finger banged themselves. Bone Splitter began to shake, but still advanced toward Buff Cat. Suddenly, he flexed so hard, he flexed right the fuck out of his metal paws. The metal crumbled, and a shockwave shot through the laboratory.
Oh my god!
Bone Splitter hit Buff Cat with the mace, but it bounced right the hell off of his muscles.
He's so swole right now. He's so swole.
Buff Cat hissed. Then he busted out his claws, which were still encased in a layer of death metal. They were deadly as fuck.
Oh, man.
Buff Cat scratched Bone Splitter's face, and then he reverse back kicked his head so hard that teeth flew out of his mouth in slow motion. As his now concussed head whipped around, his face started on fire. Bone Splitter fell to the floor in pain, howling. Buff Cat took his huge muscly leg and kicked him in the ribs, breaking them all and turning them into powder.
I imagine it kicked and then it went like you heard the powder form.
Like an hourglass inside of his chest.
Yeah.
Bone Splitter could no longer scream as his diaphragm was ruptured. He coughed up some blood. Buff Cat stood over him. Mew, 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 mew. Classic catchphrase, Sid said as he crossed his arms and leaned against the stone wall. Buff Cat kicked Bone Splitter over, so he was on his back. Mew, he said, then proceeded to take out a death metal dagger and cut. Sid interrupted. BC, man, humans don't have tails. But it was too late. Buff Cat had already cut off Bone Splitter's front tail.
Oh my god!
Damn, that's fucked up, Sid said, shaking his head. Then Bone Splitter exploded, and Buff Cat proceeded to piss on him, marking his territory. Just then, Sid's talking stone began to go off. He answered. It was Ugla. Hey, I just saw you called. What's up? Finn.
Fucking Ugla. And her not answering her phone. Magic stone, I mean.
Yep. Isn't that the way? Isn't that just the way?
That's just the way it is. Josh, that was a great conclusion to Buff Cat's amazing quest. And his first one that we've heard, right?
Yeah, his first quest, and he gets a catchphrase right off the bat.
Yeah, I think it was mew, mew, mew,
mew. Mew, 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 mew.
All right, Josh, are you ready for part 3 of my story?
Baby, baby, yeah.
Friends. This one is called I Don't Think I Titled the Second Part.
That's going to be really confusing. That's going to be more confusing than like episode 4, you know, when people say like the first Star Wars and they're like, hey, do you mean episode 1 or episode, you know?
Did you adjust glasses?
Yep.
Outside of the crypt stood Throm and his companions as they stared at the stone door where nothing stirred. That place looks haunted as shit, said Florin the cleric. Suddenly, a ghost flew out and passed the adventurers overhead while wailing, "Excuse me, boys, booty call." "Open the door, rogue," shouted Throm as he tossed Zalkin toward the crypt. Zalkin picked himself up, brushed himself off, and said, "Zeesh," then walked down to the door. The troll touched it with his palm, searching for a hidden switch. His fingers passed over where someone had scribbled the Battle Keg logo, a Snickerdoodle Hearts Reese's, and one of those S things. And finally to a doorknob. Zalkin turned it, And sure enough, the door opened.
One of those S things. Reese's and,
You know what I'm talking about.
Reese's and Snickerdoodle will be happy that they're remembered in Orcs Fire.
Yeah, you're just representing a little bit. Somebody's hooking it up. The old rogue does it again, said Zalkin proudly. The party descended into the crypt. Throm took the lead and walked through every cobweb to ever exist ever. He looked like a goddamn mummy. They entered a small room that had one hallway leading to a spiraling staircase. It reeked of death. The barbarian wiped the cobwebs from his face and shouted, "Wake up, you old idiots! Throm is here to stomp some skull!" To show how serious he was, Throm punched the wall of the crypt, shattering it. When the dust cleared, there sat a skeleton about to take a bite out of a bone sandwich. He stopped and looked at our heroes and said, "Hey, a guy's gotta eat." The party was revolted. Zalkin ripped off the skeleton's skull and held it as Throm punched it over and over again. Zalkin handed the skull to Florin, who shot put it out of the crypt. "No eating each other," he called after the skull as it disappeared over the horizon.
Dude, I love the fucking skeletons in this universe. They're the coolest fucking people.
They're always doing something.
They're fucking awesome. This guy's just eating a bone sandwich. He's just fucking sitting there.
I like to imagine that he just didn't have one leg and he's just eating his own bone sandwich.
Perfect.
The adventurers descended the spiral staircase, but quickly encountered another of the crypt's inhabitants. Out of the darkness crawled a giant brown spider. Our heroes armed themselves, but the spider began to speak. "Look," it said. "First things first, my name's Kathy, and I've been living in this crypt a long time. Now, I know y'all want to grab your swords and start fighting, guys, but the truth is this is my home, and we got some rules here. Rule number 1, no running in the house. Rule number 2, no backsassing and definitely no cussing. Rule number 3, hey, is that a bow made of wizard cherry wood?" And suddenly the spider fell dead, thanks to a well-placed arrow from Zalkin.
Dude, I think we've all been to a Kathy's house, you know?
Oh, God. Kathy. Darkness swallowed the adventurers as they continued to the bottom of the crypt. Florin pulled a torch from his satchel and lit it. The room was filled with an orange light, revealing several chests along with skeletons of failed treasure hunters. One had a beard, and Florin yelled, "Hey, skeletons can't have beards!" The beard hopped up and turned out to be one of those damn Darenosian fur beetles.
Ah, fucking fur beetle!
It ran away crying, "My dreams! Oh, my dreams!"
Dude, that's exactly...
It just had a dream to be a skeleton's beard.
He was living it until somebody fucked it up.
Florin gasped, "Magic fur beetle!" He took note in his journal, being a avid entomologist.
Oh, lovely.
"Throm wants fancy jewels," shouted the barbarian, pointing to the chests. "I'd better search for traps," declared Zalkin. He stood in place as he quickly glanced around the room. "Well, it looks like this place don't got no traps," he said with a smile. Then a boxing glove sprung out of the wall and punched him in the chin. And a pie flew out of another wall and hit him in the face. And a pail of stagnant water fell on his head. And then somewhere in the crypt you could hear a horn go, "Brrrr," as stink fumes came off of him.
Dude. Best booby traps of all time.
Like, what was that to do?
I think
was
like
I going to do?
Fucking foghorn.
"Traps can get fucked," said Throm, and he opened a chest and out flew poison snakes, biting him in the face. His face quickly swelled. Throm brushed them off with his sword, cutting off their tails as some heads remained hanging on. "Fuck thraps," he said, and as he opened another chest,
Because he's swollen.
which sent a green stanky taint gas all over him, bringing his charisma down to a mere -69.
Oh my god.
Swollen and stanky, Throm shoved the mess that Zalkin had become aside and continued down the hall. Throm stepped on a loose brick, and out of the wall came a hail of arrows sticking into Throm's arms and shoulders. "Thuck my dick, Thraps!" called the barbarian as he continued unfazed. The troll and dwarf followed as the cleric paged through Joel Heelbody's book, trying to find a cure to the poison smell amongst the splash pages of bone-feastingly hot sex.
Splash pages.
That's just majority of the book is these beautiful illustration of raunchy-ass sex.
It's like Penthouse. It's like that's like the type of fucking that's going on in this book.
The party finally came to the room they were looking for. In the center was the black ore embedded upon a rock sculpture of a dragon's head.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Also, it was surrounded by coffins, which the lids were all off of. Out of the darkness stepped 5 undead dark elves, covered in ancient black armor, each wielding a black mace. "Suck 100 dirty dicks in the pain mine, hell, motherfucker!" shouted Thram. He reached for his swords, but his arms would not move. "Those arrows must have been tipped with a paralysis poison," shouted the cleric. Zulkin and Form tried reaching for their weapons, but they were frozen in fear of what stood in front of them. The leader of the Dark Elf stepped forward with a massive crown upon his head, holding out his hand to Thram. He clenched his fist. Thram again went to chop off his hand, but the poison began to burn, dropping Thram to a knee.
Oh, man.
The Dark Elf approached the barbarian and breathed the stink of death onto him. "Fuck off, you rotted fucking sack of dirty shit!" shouted the barbarian. The elf raised his hand and began to bitch slap the shit out of Thram for like 7 straight minutes. Finally, the elf turned to his fellow undead and bellowed, "Bitch slap these bitches!" The other elves moved forward and began to bitch slap all of them. It sounded like motherfuckers were trying to get a second encore out of Battle Cat with all the applause that was happening in that crypt.
Like a slap fest. Holy shit.
The leader of the Dark Elves pulled his hand back for a mighty bitch slap, but Thram had had enough. He dodged the slap and chomped at the hand, grabbing one of the fingers with his teeth, and ripped it right the fuck off, and spat it back in the Dark Elf's face, poking himself in the eye with his own damn finger. "Eat this, you dickless bag of severed cocks!" yelled the barbarian.
He's just slowly getting more vulgar. Just
slowly making less sense.
It's slowly crazier.
Yelled the barbarian as he pulled back and headbutted the elf, causing his undead skull to cave in. He then kicked the elf's torso right the fuck off. The other undead elves took a break from Bitch Slap Fest 2K20 to look at all the commotion. And in that moment, Zulkin and Forn seized their opportunity. They drew their weapons and began to cut the keepers down, which wasn't really all that hard because they were mostly bony dead guys. Joel Heelbody's book lay on the ground as the cleric was caving in kneecaps with his mace. Arms still paralyzed, Thram began to use his feet to page through the cleric's book.
Like his toes.
Yeah. He kicked the cover open and tried to turn the pages, ripping most of them as he looked for a spell to heal his arms. Thram paged over an image of Joel Heelbody and 7 elves 69ing on a cloud. "Fucking books!" yelled Thram as he began to stomp the book in frustration. The book began to glow and a blue magic wrapped itself around Thram. He began to feel the blood trickling down his arms as he moved his fingers. The poison was healed. After a few minutes, the fighting had ended. The black ore still shined amongst the limbs, blood, and bodies.
Oh, man.
The barbarian reached down and hugged onto it. Then, with all his strength, he pulled back, ripping the ore out of the structure. He held it above his head and shouted, "Now all who defy Thram or even look dirty at Thram shall be super murdered." Zulkin and Forn briefly celebrated, when suddenly the eyes of the dragon statue cracked and shattered, and the eyes of a real-ass dragon began to move about as they glowed, filling the crypt with a blood-red light.
Oh my god.
The rest of the dragon stone shell cracked and the head lifted up out of the crypt and began to breathe. Oh "Super fuck this, I'm out," yelled Zulkin, grabbing Forn by the cloak. Heading for the stairs, Thram yelled, "Eat shit!" and punched the dragon in the jaw, dazing it for a moment, then ran for the stairs as well, with the ore above his head. The crypt shook and began to fall apart as the boys climbed the stairs faster and faster. Thram quickly passed the rogue and cleric as they grabbed onto the barbarian, carrying the ore and the rest of his party out of the crypt. As the boys exited, they came face to face with 3 skeleton steeds covered in battle armor with sacks of gold and jewels hanging from their saddles. Confused, the party scanned to the left, looking for the owners, but instead saw another crypt just across the way with a sign that read, Steeds of the Ancient Keeper's Crypt, a.k.a. rich-ass motherfucking undead steedly horses.
I love how this crypt is, like, just across, like, the street.
Yeah, it's just another crypt. It's for the horses. The party let out an understanding, oh, and then someone said, their names are rich. They mounted and headed east for Doldan. The steeds bolted as fast as they could, which, to be honest, was pretty fucking quick for a horse with no muscles at all. On the horizon behind them, the crypt crumbled into Orkspire as a black dragon flew into the air and swooped back around after them.
Oh my god.
Ride faster, large-boned dogs! Demanded Throm as the dragon quickly gained on them. The black dragon was close. Throm stood on his steed and turned around to face the dragon. He threw one of his swords at him, which struck it in the neck. The dragon whipped its head back as the barbarian readied the other sword, but was quickly disarmed as the dragon swiped at Throm's hand with its talon.
Oh my god.
Throm jumped from his horse onto the dragon's head and began punching him right in his motherfucking eye. Meanwhile, a warrior sat with his family eating dinner. He dropped his fork and said, God damn! It feels like a barbarian is punching a dragon in the freaking eye over and over again while it chases a dwarf and a troll on skeletal horseback. Does anyone else feel that?
I fucking love that guy.
The warrior got up from the table and looked outside. Sure enough, Zalkin and Fjord passed the warrior's door, followed by Throm and the black dragon. The warrior slowly shut his door as his child came up to him. Daddy, what is it? The warrior grabbed his son by his shoulders and said, Promise me you'll never go outside again. Promise me! I promise, Daddy, said the young boy crying.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit. Alright, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Throm leapt back onto his skeletal steed as the party roared into Doldan and headed for the blacksmith. Anyone who stood in their way to the blacksmith was savagely beaten. Like, they really didn't have the time for this shit. But Zalkin drop-kicked the fuck out of one guy who was waiting in line for wizard tacos. They threw open the blacksmith's door. The blacksmith was there doing a little dance and singing, Oh, I like to make swords, I'm a sword-making boy. Sometimes I make maces, but I love to make swords. Oh, hey, guys. He said, noticing the party. Throm smashed the ore down on his workbench, destroying it completely, and yelled, Offeroth, now! The blacksmith worked quickly as the dragon wreaked havoc on the town. After a while, the sword was almost finished. And now we wait for it to cool, said the half-elf as the 4 of them sat there watching the sword as the horrified screams of chaos and destruction happened outside.
It's just like watching paint dry, and it's just like, going on in the back.
There was a knock at the door. Florin got up and opened it, coming face to face with the dragon's eye. Faldu Ishka, it spoke.
Oh my god.
Just a moment, replied the dwarf as he walked over to Throm. It's for you, big guy, he said, sitting back down to watch the sword. Throm got up and walked to the door. Throm busy, he said, annoyed, and quickly realized who it was.
Oh, man.
The dragon knocked the roof off the blacksmith and roared. There's no time, yelled Throm. He grabbed the sword, still burning hot. The dragon reached down to swallow them whole when the barbarian swung the hot blade right through its jaw, severing it completely.
Oh my god.
The rest of Throm's companions sprinted outside as the dragon screamed something awful. Throm jammed the sword into its throat and cut all the way down to its taint. The dragon fell dead, completely destroying the blacksmith's house, because cutting someone all the way down to the taint is a finishing move.
That's canon. I know that's canon.
Doldan rejoiced that the dragon it had no prior knowledge of had finally been slain. Some locals were trying to play it off like they knew about that dragon for a long time, but they was tripping. The town lifted our heroes on their shoulders and cheered, not realizing that the town would have never been attacked in the first place if not for Throm. But Doldan lives in the now, and this story took me a surprisingly long time to write, and it's over. The end.
Dom, that was a great fucking story.
Oh, well, thank you.
You write Throm's actions like so well. Like when he's like hugging the metal and like pulling it, it's like an animated series. It's like a cartoon in my head.
Well,
I can
thanks.
see
It's
it.
very nice of you to say that.
It's great. Dude, great story. That might be your best story. And that's
thank you.
That's saying something.
This was a really interesting experiment
Yeah.
these stories, because they came to pretty fucking rad endings. I
Agreed.
fucking loved Buffcat just fucking getting revenge on that ass. And, we'll have to revisit this sometime.
Yeah, we're gonna do this again at some point. It's interesting because it's like 3 parts is like the standard, right, for like any movie or show or story. So it works out well, but it's fun to play in that realm, I guess.
Absolutely. And then like usually the prompts, they're like, okay, well the prompt is this, so what will I make it about? And like you kind of have a clean slate, but with this it was like, okay, how do I work this prompt into
right?
I kind of shoehorned Cannibals in there, but that skeleton. I mean, come on, he was about to eat a bone sandwich.
I shoehorned it in also, but
hey, it's canon.
It's canon. Hello, everyone. This is Reese's the Wise here with
Old Snickerdoodle, and this is another edition of
Chamber of Knowledge.
Yes, that is correct. And Reese's, what did you do this week?
I was with you all week, Snickerdoodle. Don't you remember? We went to the fair.
Play with me. Just play along. I want to imagine that we have lives outside of this chamber. It is a chamber because we are locked inside.
I don't know where the key went. Somebody lost it.
We lost it together.
I said we should, hide a key, like underneath your bone car, but fucking you lost that one too.
When you talk to me like this, I just want to go work on my bone car.
Well,
alone.
Everyone needs some alone time. I'm trying to give you a hint here.
First scroll, let's get this over with.
First scroll.
At Slade Ian asks, just how buff is Buffcat? How much can he bench press?
Buffcat is so big. When he lay around the house, Buffcat lays around the house, Snickerdoodle.
Oh, my golden rings.
He's mostly working on his glutes these days and doesn't bench press much because whenever he turns on his back, he immediately flips over and lands on his feet.
Interesting. I did not know that about Buffcat, but it makes a great amount of sense.
I mean, he can bench press, but it's an undisclosed amount. It's quite a lot, though, from what I remember.
But his pecs are pretty shredded, I heard.
He just was born that way. I don't think he does anything.
I heard he was born a litter of one, just him, because he was so goddamn big. That's the rumor.
The newspaper reported it as a litter of 13, but that was only because he has the number 13 tattooed on his bicep.
Oh, he does?
He should if he doesn't.
That's interesting. I thought he was mostly covered in fur. Next scroll!
Next scroll is from @CodySandy and Garrett Barzalowski. They ask, what actions are against the law in Daranos and Orkspire? And what are the punishments?
Well, there are some laws in Orkspire. As we know, there isn't one governing power, but some of those laws include no smelling other people when they don't want to be smelled,
yes.
No smelling bad, no lying about smelling good, no smelling awful, no talking about how good you smell when you smell bad, and no tomatoes on my wizard burger.
Those are very strict laws. I don't think I'm ready to travel.
All punishments are death.
That is fair. That's very fair. That's unbelievably fair.
How about in Daranos?
Peeping on comely bitches is illegal.
What?
Eating, well, when they're inside of their, houses or whatever, you can't.
Oh, okay,
Trust me,
that
you
makes
don't.
sense. Yes, that should be illegal everywhere. That is gross.
It's not okay. Eating turnips on a Thermoon's Day.
Understandable.
Don't do it.
What happened last time, you know.
Yes. And not bowing before Snake Lord Zul Doomfist, all hail our future's overlord, Zul Doomfist. May your enemies die in horrible pain and suffer the pain of 1,000 dick punches.
That is 1,000. 1,000 dick punches.
In a row.
Oh my god. So not even at once.
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh, well, I don't have to bow. I don't come from that realm, so...
I'm just hedging my bets in case he, takes over, you know? I'm trying to...
I understand.
Maybe he needs an all-knowing wizard who lives in a tower with another guy.
Wait, do you think you could get me a job?
I think so. I think I could pull a few strings, Snickerdoodle.
I'll whip up a wizard resume. A whiz resume.
A resume.
And the date will probably be wrong, and I'll probably put a mission statement at the top, which I shouldn't, but I'll put one together and get it to you. Next scroll! At Omegle Bagel asks, who can squat more, Buffcat or Throm? How much could Buffcat's tail curl before it was removed?
Well, Throm is very strong. I wouldn't be surprised if he could outsquat Buffcat. He's very large in the upper body, though. I'm not sure this is a tough call. I don't know.
Yes, well, I would assume that it would be Buffcat because his hind legs, he uses them much more when he does all those leaping, so his glutes are tight, his thighs are tight. I imagine he does pretty good, but Throm does train regularly by super kicking trees over when he's bored. So don't get kicked by Throm if you see him. In fact, I would just run.
That's another thing that's illegal in Orkspire and Daranos, getting kicked by Throm.
It is illegal because the punishment is death.
Immediate death.
Next scroll!
Next scroll is from Dylan Dumier. He asks, who crafts the sweetest guitar in all of Orkspire and Daranos? Snickerdoodle.
Well, in Orkspire, that would be Bartholomew Riffshred.
Oh my, I've heard of him.
He does a lot of custom work, and he once made a guitar out of a deceased node for Battle Keg.
Oh.
It's a whole skeleton body that you can strum, and sound comes out. Don't ask me.
That's fucking
ask
awesome.
Bartholomew.
He's a real craftsman. In Daranos, we have Will Les Paul, a humble guitar maker from Grawl, who also invented the double high kick windmill move.
Whoa!
It's pretty cool. His guitars cure diseases and make girls have to change their panties if they could afford more than one pair of panties.
Wow. Yes, not many people can in Daranos.
Not with all the turnip eating on Thermoon's Day.
Yeah, you will be in trouble if you do that. Next scroll. Next scroll comes from Nathan Enos. He asks, what sort of jobs do humans have in your respective worlds?
Well, we have, there are millers and tailors and butchers, just like in your world, but in ours they make enough to live on. Am I right? The economy.
Yeah, yes. I've used my RC ball to peer into your world, and it is very bad.
It's depressing. Holy jeez.
We watch it when we're bored. Because it reminds us how good life is!
We sit here and we smoke pipes and watch your pathetic little lives roll around. And you're like ants to us.
If I really get bored, I'll look out the window and look at an orc, and then I'm like, that's fascinating, and then just go back to bed, and because I've seen enough for the day.
That's a whole day.
In your boring-ass world, where you eat, like, a piece of bread for dinner. Get out of here.
How many orcs did you see today? Zero. Just quit. Just
get over it.
Don't get over it.
In Orkspire, humans have a variety of jobs they can do.
Yes.
A little human can grow up to be whatever he or she wants. Like an adventurer, or a pig farmer, or a stay-at-home dad, or a werewolf, or a owlbear, or even an Italian. Just about anything if you want. You know what I'm saying there, Reese's?
Snickerdoodle. They could grow up to be Italian.
if they could wish and dream and try really hard, anyone can be Italian.
Oh, snickerdoodle. Oh, hoi. That's a lovely, lovely dream to grow up to be that.
To be a real pizza man.
It's such. Next scroll.
Next scroll.
Is it me? I think it's me.
It is you.
All right, next scroll is from Hollis Hornbeak. That is a fucking cool name.
That is fantasy. That is canon if I ever heard it.
It's a canon name. What's, quote, all the rage in Daranos and Orkspire right now? Snickerdoodle.
Well, in Orkspire, a lot of ladies are wearing a t-shirt that says, I don't need no man to have fun.
It's a good message to send your young ladies.
It's kind of a boring shirt, but they wear it.
It's just words?
Yeah. It's not even magic.
Is it pink? Or like neon colored or something?
It's beige.
Ugh.
It's like almost like a skin color. It's weird.
I can see
How about
it.
in Daranos?
In Daranos, Cat in the Hat hats with wizard weed leaves on them. And,
I think they're called dope hats.
dope hats. And, don't have a merc monk, man. Slap bracelets.
I think I need one of those. In my wizard life, I mean, I have so many other artifacts in my realm.
You can't wear them in Druid, at the Druid Academy or Wizard Yale. They outlawed them because a kid sliced his wrist open once.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
It's stupid, I know. You deserve to die if that's what happens.
That's what I'm saying. Next scroll.
Next scroll.
At Kuraza Kid on Twitter asks, what are the most famous children's stories in Orkspiz and the Big D?
I like the way that I like the way he talks and stuff.
Me too. I want to hang out.
Do you want to get slap bracelets and go to the mall?
If I felt like going to boring ass Earth.
Whoa!
You know what I'm saying?
They don't have any orcs.
Oh, a pizza in your face. I'm an Italian now.
That's a really good human from Earth impression.
Thank you.
The story that is most told to children in our land, Corey, the severely mentally disabled child, colon, but don't make fun of him, he knows death spells.
Oh my god.
It's a morality tale.
That sounds like a very good morality tale. I don't know what I said. It was probably a spell by accident.
I think he turned, like, the apple over there into, like, a fucking apple with a spider legs and shit. Or something.
That apple does have spider legs. I don't remember that spider-legged apple being here.
That's pretty cool.
I don't want to say that word again, so I won't.
How about an Orkspiz there?
Well, in Orkspiz, the most told children's tale is The Orc and the Free Sex Hole. And pretty much, it's a cautionary tale about telling people that there's a free sex hole somewhere when there ain't. And people will get PO'd and may even try to beat you up. So remember, no lying about free sex hole orgies, because that is messed up.
I've heard that. I've heard you use that expression, the boy who said, hey, there's a free sex hole over there. Everybody fuck it.
Yeah, seriously, well, you understand that a sex hole is just a hole where sex is happening.
I thought you meant I thought it meant like a hole, like in a fence.
No, I should clarify.
Oh.
That is ye old fence hole. We know what that's for.
That
sex
one's
hole
okay.
is different.
Okay.
So still don't spread rumors.
Don't do it.
But I think that's all the information these people shall receive, if you ask me.
Yes, we got to go take care of this apple spider business. I don't know what this thing is doing.
Oh God,
it's playing the saxophone now.
Oh, it's. I saw it walking on your wand earlier, so I don't know if you want to clean that.
Jesus, I'm not. That wand is dead to me. I'll just get a new one.
Oh my God, it's having a child. What is that?
It's having like 7 million children, and they're all playing
all apple
saxophone.
spiders. Oh my God, this is gross and kind of cute. Oh God, okay, Reese's is going to vomit. We have to get out of here. Hit the switch. Where is it? We should label it. We should put a red string around it.
Oh, snickerdoodle, we gotta get out of this.
Okay, I think I found it. Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You know, I figure at this point those two would know how to turn off whatever is communicating them with our world.
Yeah, they do it every week. I don't understand where the difficulty.
They're supposed to be smart guys, too.
I just, like, in my head, they're just, like, taking their stabs and, like, poking the ball or whatever. Like, they're just trying to turn it off. Like, they don't want to get up out of their seats.
I imagine, like, it quickly goes to just throwing things.
Yeah. They just throw, like a head of lettuce. Mm-hmm. And a tomato. Like, they just have fucking produce in their room.
Rotting produce.
A radish. A turnip.
But hey, everyone, thanks again for listening to another episode, and thanks for sticking through this 3-part story. It was a lot of fun to do.
It was a lot of fun.
There's a few things we want to mention before we go. Mm-hmm. We want to say thanks to Josh Howell for illustrating both Throm and Jojo the Occultist from the Continue Cast episode.
Jojo?
Which is... That's the only story Josh and I have written together, and it's still, like, one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, that was a really funny one.
That's where Oh My Golden Rings comes
that's where that came from. Oh My Golden Rings.
I forget which episode of Continue Cast it is, but it's one of the general banter casts.
It's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, but if you haven't checked that out yet, go check it out. It's a fun time. And check out Josh's website. We'll put a comment to his stuff in the show notes. So, as always, if there's anything we talk about here, we usually put it in the show notes.
Also, thank you to Steph Baum for designing a Buffcat logo.
Mew Club.
Buffcat Mew Club logo. Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, it's on the Facebook and the Twitter, but we will have t-shirts of that soon. Yes. I also ordered buttons, because why the hell not?
Yeah, fuck it. Buttons are cool. Put them on your backpack.
Yeah, put it on your backpack, put it on your jean jacket, put it on your leather jacket.
Yeah. I know, look, you guys listening to this podcast out there, I know you're wearing jean jackets.
I know y'all got some denim jackets on right now.
I know you have that on.
If you want to check out more of Steph's work, check out stephbaum.com. That'll be in the show notes too.
Mm-hmm. And as always, go to iTunes, leave a review. It really helps us out. Sometimes they put us on the featured section, which is all thanks to you guys. It's really awesome. So thank you.
Got there. We've been there before, which is great because of you guys. So thank you so much. And if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. We like to respond to them. And if you want to just send us an email with just a message, feel free to contact us at fantasyficpod@gmail.com.
Fucking do it.
Fucking do it, baby. Prompts for next week, though.
What are we doing?
Well, we got 2 here.
Yes.
We got one from Aaron Damrell, and that's Mead Halls.
Yeah, we're doing that.
And we also have one from Kyle B. Bartholini. Uh-huh. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He suggested Magic Rings.
Those are 2 very awesome ones.
And I suggest, since we're doing a tavern-y episode again, I need you to go to the store and get some old motherfucking E.
Dude, old E. Or as I like to call it, old Mead.
Or as I like to call it, old. Spelled old-fashioned with an E at the end.
Oldie.
But yeah, we'll, if you remember, I think it was episode 4, we did an episode where we drank a 40 and got drunk. We're going to do that again.
We're going to drink an entire 40. And when that happens, that means you're drunk.
Especially when you haven't been drinking much at all like I have.
Yep.
And I am going to drive to Sherman Oaks and try and get some mead, because I think there is a place that sells mead there. So
I'm also going to try to find some mead, but I live in the middle of nowhere.
I think you live in Daranos, don't you?
I live in Daranos for the most part. If you ever drive around Bucks County, Pennsylvania, that is Daranos.
You will see people having sex on the side of the road.
Yeah, and fur beetles. It's just fucking crazy.
But thanks again, everyone, and until next week.
Until next week, thank you, everyone, and keep on wizarding.
Keep on wizarding.
Wow.
Thanks for listening to another episode, everyone. We love you all. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.